Are you confident? Do you have consistency? How much conviction do you have? I'm Daniel Gomez, the Confidence Architect, a business strategist, keynote speaker, executive coach, and best-selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you unlock confidence to create consistency and develop conviction. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence. Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we motivate you, we inspire you. Today, we're going to educate you to a whole other level. I got a dear friend of mine all the way from Mexico right now because he's on vacay. I'm going to have his life here pretty soon. Let's welcome to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, Obom.
My brother from a different mother, a sexier version with hair. Good to see you, man. Glad to be on the show.
Hey, brother, you know what? We were having an amazing conversation before we came on here for this show live, a special edition, just because we got 2 millionaires in the house, the underdog. But, brother, do me a favor. Introduce yourself to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, please.
Absolutely. Well, for those that don't know, my name is Dr. Obom Bowen, like Obama without the A. But according to my wife, I'm twice as good looking. So there's no one else I would believe other than her. So as long as she's the one that's judging, I'm good to go. But, professionally, I served as a Marine for 20 years and I retired and then became a professional business consultant. I've consulted some of the largest brands known to us in the United States, like Walmart stores, Jafra Cosmetics, Nice Media Clothing, Chevron, Walgreens, many of them who are still clients of mine. But my passion is helping underdogs really become that person that lives and breathe their legacy on a daily basis. So we help entrepreneurs go from confused to confirmed, focused, and finished with their projects in life that God's given them in their heart. So I'm excited, man, to be here. I love helping people, and that's why I do what I do. According to many, because they love the work I do, I have 4 award-winning best-selling books. So apparently I got some cool things to say and folks like to read.
Well, man, I love you, brother. I tell you what, we kind of belong to the same community, but I think we really connected. You know when you meet somebody, ladies and gentlemen, and you just kind of connect at the hip. Well,
absolutely.
I met Dr. Obom there in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, with our good friend Emilio.
Oh man, yes.
We just bonded, man. It was amazing. It's like I talked to you like I knew you forever, and I was like, how long have we known each other? I said, well, this is the first time we met in person.
Right, it was. And I think we might have messaged once or twice before that, but meeting in person, it was. Sometimes you say it's electric. I wouldn't say it was electric. It was like the God spark. If you're Megatron fan from Transformers, they call it the All Spark. I think the All Spark just ignited in both of us that night, and it's been crazy ever since, brother.
Hey, you know what, man? I love the Transformers.
I do too.
Autobots in disguise. Ladies and gentlemen,
in disguise. Oh, you're gonna get us going all nerdy right now.
I'm getting pumped up here. So, ladies and gentlemen, get out your pen, get out your paper. I'll tell you what, Dr. Obama is an amazing human being. I love this guy. When I need some wisdom, I call him and he pours into me. So you definitely want to get out your pen. Definitely want to get out a paper, a spiral, journal, something, a notebook, because you want to definitely take some notes. You know my saying, when you write something down, you retain it even 50% more. And then you can go back and listen to your notes, read your notes, listen to your own self, talk about the notes, because I do this and it helps to plant even deeper in your subconscious mind. So get out your pen, get out your paper, because Dr. Obama's going to drop some massive wisdom today. Man, well, you know what? I don't even know where to start. I'm just having so much fun with you. Man, I can just talk to you.
You don't know where to start. I don't know where to finish. We're at 2 bookends right here. Don't even know. But thank you for saying those amazing things, though. But you are right, and I'm glad you tell folks to grab their pen and papers. I always have a pen and paper with me wherever I'm at, because you never know what's going to be amazingly coming down the road. But psychologically, writing clarifies thought. So when someone says something that you think and you start to write, it changes from even what you say, because you're starting to get it now clear and focus. And we know once you focus on something, focus leads to clarity, and clarity, once you're clear on something, a clear, focused mind is the biggest weapon against the enemy, right? He doesn't want you clear and focused. He just
Yes.
wants you distracted, which is the biggest sin. It isn't like you, for example, men like you and I, he already knows we're not going to go messing around on our wives, but he's going to distract us, right? You can find like, oh, here you are focused on going to change lives, generate $1 billion that you're going to help so many people. But, ooh, here's this other deal over here. And ooh, right? Squirrel. So as long as you're squirreling over here, you're not over here where you're going to make the biggest impact in the world. So, of course, the dude wants to distract us, but it's not going to work. Not today, devil. Not today.
Well, let me ask you this. So scientifically behind that, what
Yeah.
happens, right? So focus leads to clarity. You write it down, but what's going on at a deeper level that you can give the audience maybe something to even like, wow, I never even thought about it that way.
Yeah. So you think about when you get clear, let's say, for example, there's 10 things you want to do, but you get clear on which one you want to focus on. So clarity deeper leads to focus, the one thing you can focus on. So you say, like, you know what, I want to generate $1 million. What's the fastest way to do it? Well, you can sell a product for $1 million, right? Or you can sell like 1,000 products for $1,000. Or you break it all the way down to like, okay, $57 a month for a year, and you get a couple hundred people on that, it's $1 million. Whatever it is. Either way, from 57 all the way up to $1 million, if you're just focused on that road, by the end of the year, you can get there. You can do coaching, consulting, whatever. But once you get clear and you get focused, which means follow one course until successful, you don't veer off. So if you're focused, there's no distraction.
Oh, I
That
love
means
that,
the
right?
enemy
Follow
isn't
one
there
course until
until successful, right? Too many of us were jumping from here to there, like, oh, or here's the one, oh, I can multitask, which is completely impossible because the brain can only focus on one thing at a time. Now, you could be distracted by 6 if you're trying to do 7 things, be like, oh, I'm doing this. No, you're doing this one, distracted by that one, turn into this one, distracted by that one and the other 5. But the brain, when you talk in science, scientifically, you can only focus on one thing. Like if my wife comes in here right now, even though we are on this podcast, you know who takes precedence. Be like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. Give me a second, right? So I had a lady one time that told me, it's like, oh, Dr. O, I need to talk to you. It's life or death. Now, fortunately for her, my wife didn't need me at the time because she would have died. If it's like, listen, my wife takes priority. Sorry, you're going to die. But for her, my wife didn't need me at the time, so she lived. You know what I'm saying?
Man, well, I love that, right? Because so many times people say the word multitask or they dilute their focus. And
they do.
You know, it goes back to the saying, right? You want to have multiple streams of income in business. And the problem is they never build one strong stream. And next thing you know, they got 5 or 6 weak streams. And then what you don't focus on, eventually it goes away, right? What you focus on expands. So if you're not focusing on something, it goes away. I love the way this conversation is going. So let me answer this.
Absolutely.
Where did the focus come and create the Underdog Millionaire brand? I love that, right? I think that's one thing that kind of caught my attention. Underdog Millionaire. Ours is the makings of a millionaire mind, and it just goes one in hand. And I love it, man, because I think
absolutely
so many people it breaks my heart. They think in poverty, they're poor-minded, and they don't do it on purpose because that's what, right. We're a product of our environment. Right. But we can't change that. And when I saw that Underdog Millionaire, yeah, come on. When I read that, it's like, you might have started off here underneath the bridge or right on food stamps or maybe living paycheck to paycheck, but because you're the underdog and God's with you, you don't have to stay there.
Exactly. You know, it's so funny. And I tell people all the time, God loves the underdog. If you want to, just go back through history, right? Go to Moses. What's Moses' story? He had the stuttering problem, right? He couldn't even speak right. And he belonged to one tribe and had to go get them free, but he ended up in a little basket. And then Pharaoh's daughter took him in. He was raised alongside Ramesses, and they were boys together. They did everything together, but he couldn't be the Pharaoh. I mean, you know how long it was. Pharaoh always have great speeches, but Moses, if he said 10 words, it would take 10 minutes. It'd be like a word a minute. Anyways, God gave him Aaron, but he was the ultimate underdog, right? You take David and Goliath, right? It's a little shepherd boy, right? He just threw rocks around the places to chase off like animals when he was returning the sheep. But with that, just listen, it wasn't the rock that killed David. It was the power of the Holy Spirit within the gentleman that was throwing the rock, knocked him down. Samson and Goliath, right? It's so much.
Yes.
You got the brothers, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, all the underdogs standing in the face of adversity. Is like kneel. Nope, we ain't kneeling down. We'll throw you in the lions then. Great. That didn't work? Oh, we'll throw you in front of fire. Guess that didn't work. Them dudes had armor-proof fire suit, aka God, around them. They put them in the furnace, watching them not burn. So God loves the underdog. And what you're saying is like, listen, if the underdog does what they're supposed to do, following God's laws, not man's laws, following God's laws, there's no way they can fail.
I love that. I love that. So, something that I always talk to my clients, or just people in general in conversation, is when you follow God's laws, you're of God's economy, not of the world. So many people, right? So many people are right now in just like, oh, the economy, and even some people I unfriended them on LinkedIn because they're just like, I don't want to talk about the fact of recession. Like, I don't even want to hear the word recession. In God's economy, there's no recession.
There is no recession.
Talk to us about that. What's the difference between the world's economy and the God's economy? Because that's what you're talking about, right? When you're operating with God, God is your provider, and you're the underdog millionaire. That's how you really kind of grow your business in this season, because there's always a way. You said the key word. We're following the wrong principles.
Exactly. You know what's crazy? So when you put a seed in the ground, I always love using a seed because every seed grows in the kingdom. There's the law of the seed. And the law of the seed is, if you want a seed to grow, you have to put the seed in fertile ground and water it. And then it shoots and sprouts and it digs up, and you keep watering it until it doesn't need to be watered anymore. When is that? Never. So you always have to water the seed. Whether it's you, it turns into an oak tree, and then the rain comes and does it. But what does that mean? Us as an individual, as a seed, doesn't matter where the economy is. Trust me, there's folks that are thriving right now. Business is doing really well right now. I'm at a resort here. I'm here for 2 months. There's a lot of folks here. So obviously my business is thriving. I'm doing great. They're doing great because they got my business for 2 months. Right? They got a whole bunch of it. This place is not, listen, it's thriving so well here. They have 14 resort properties, like the hotels. Then they have this huge golf course. I think it's like 65 golf course, like homes. They're all filled, right? So they're not experiencing that recession everyone is talking about, which also means everyone that is here is not experiencing a recession that everyone is talking about. So for me, I get myself in good soil.
Yes.
I'm here with other people experiencing the same thing in business I'm experiencing. Those are the ones I want to have a conversation with. Not everybody else talking about, oh my gosh, you see what's going on, what's coming. It's like, no. So here's a writer downer for the folks that are looking to take notes. There's 7 spiritual laws, and these are the ones that I abide by, right? These are God's laws, not man's laws. The first one is the law of reciprocity. And that fully means that whatever you give is returned to you tenfold. And most people, they get this wrong. They think that, for example, if I give Daniel $100,000, I'm supposed to get back $1 million from Daniel. No, I'm following his laws. I give without expecting it comes back tenfold. Yes. So for me, it's like, okay, every time, as you mentioned earlier in the beginning of the call, whenever you need somebody to connect and talk to and get a pickup, you call me. Well, if I'm pouring into you, it doesn't matter. I don't need it back from you. Getting it back from you, great. It's a bonus, but I'm following his laws. He's going to make sure that someone is pouring back into me, right? Because that falls right into law 2, the law of expectancy. So whatever I give, I also expect to get back. I don't expect to get it from you. I expect to get it from who I'm serving, because I'm not serving you. I am giving you value, but I'm serving him in doing so. Then I'm going to get it back tenfold. Now, the third law is the law of karma.
Hold on, stay there, because I got into a right. I was in deliberation, a debate is what I meant to say, with because I believe in the law of expectation, like you said, right? So many people say, well, don't expect any back. No, it's like saying you don't expect that, right? They said give without expectations. I get that, but then the thing is, you have to expect good to come into your life. If not, it's never going to come back. Talk to us about that, because people kind of debate this a lot. Well, don't expect anything. No, because you get your expectations high, nothing good's going to come. No, if you think about it, it's a law. What you expect, you're going to receive. And most people, I think, there's many people, I won't say most people, but there's many people that get this one wrong. Talk to us
Yeah.
about that one a little bit
So
deeper.
we have to really understand how 1 and 2 interlocks with each other. So reciprocity means as you give, you receive,
Yes.
right? If you're serving the creator. So for example, it's like if you put money into the bank, you're going to get that money back, ideally with interest if you put it into an interest-bearing account. Unfortunately, for the U.S., the bank interest rates holding there is like almost negative according to the economy with most folks, right? So you're not get that. But if you put it into a monetary bearing account, you get something back. So when I'm giving to someone, I'm not expecting what the original translation in Hebrew meant was if you're giving from a giver's heart. You don't expect back from the person you're giving. So don't give expecting to get from who you gave to.
Yes.
Because when you're giving, to give is gifting. It's not requiring, it's out from your love and from your heart. And the more you do that, the more you will get back from the Father, who will make sure it'll come back through, because it's the reciprocity nature of it. Now, the expectancy is expecting to get back, but not from that person. And here's the deal. If you do expect to receive, but not from that person, you're practicing his law. If you expect to get back from the person, that's just transactional.
Yes.
Hey man, give it. It's like I'm gonna let you borrow this $100. That's not giving. That's lending.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Big difference. Some people are like, oh, I'm gonna give. No, I give you that. So why are you expecting something back? You gift it to me. You don't expect it back from me. So if you want expect it back, just don't give it to me.
Yes. I love that explanation.
Right? And this is where people get confused. Like, man, I give you no. Look, listen to what you're saying. You gave, and you expect, you're not gonna get any more.
Yeah.
That means you're a thief.
I love
You take
that.
what you give. That person don't have it.
No, I love it. I love it. Keep going. Number 3. I'm loving this
Right?
stuff.
So number 3 is the law of karma, right? But all karma is really the law of cause and effect. The effect that's happened in your life, you caused it. You want to change that? Go back to the beginning, right? You got to change your mindset. You got to change your skill sets. You got to change your action steps. You got to change your behavior to get a different outcome, right? So a lot of people, when someone does something, instead of like, oh, karma is what the word is, fill in there. But it's like if you smack somebody, right, and they smack you back, it's like, ooh, karma got you right back. No, the slap that you got back is because you caused it. You slapped the other person. That's not right. It's like if you smack me, depending on how I am that day, you might get smacked back.
Yes.
But if I'm feeling prolific, I may just turn the other cheek. That's what Jesus said, right?
Yes. Yes.
But if you
Yes.
just walk up and slap me, you getting slapped back. I'm not Jesus, but I'm a Christian. I'm working on my forgiveness level. You know what I'm saying?
I love it, man. I love it. But I love what you're saying though. So, and ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're taking notes down. This kind of recap number 1, the law of
Reciprocity.
that one.
That one.
Yeah, reciprocity. So when you give, right, it's going to come back to you automatically. And I love what Dr. Obama illustrated here, because sometimes we give to a certain cause or we give to something, and maybe we're trained to expect it back from that particular person or that organization. But if I give to Dr. Obama's cause, then somebody else from not even affiliated with Dr. Obama will pour into you. So think about that. Don't be scared to give if God puts that in your heart. Maybe it's money, maybe it's your time, maybe it's whatever it may be. Maybe it's just volunteering, whatever it may be to you. But expect it in return, because we reap what we sow. If you're sowing good deeds, if you're sowing good seeds, it's going to come back to you. So expect it.
Absolutely.
What farmer plants a harvest, right? What farmer plants a seed and doesn't expect a harvest? They expect a harvest.
They do. And they keep watering and they keep waiting. Speaking of that, here's a cool analogy. I always love this one. There's 2 farmers who get up and they pray every single day. This is why it says, like, listen, people saying, oh, I got to pray and I'll get this and that. No, for our Christian friends or our Christ followers, our kingdom believers, if you believe that praying is going to give you the answer, praying is not the answer, right? It says faith without work is death. So there's two farmers, they get up and pray every single day. Lord, just wanted to rain. They're getting down, one is on their knees, they're doing the exact same thing. They have the exact same prayer. It's like verbatim, right? They're listening to each other. One of them gets up and he goes out and he starts plowing the field. And he starts preparing it and raking it, and he planted some seeds and he's waiting and he's praying. While the other guy's still praying, same stuff. The rain comes. 6 weeks later, one of them is upset because one of them prayed, right? He had faith and he put in the work and his fields grew. While the other one is now cursing because he waited till it started raining. Now it's too late for him to go and farm and cultivate the land and plant the seed. He mad. This is what happens to a lot of people. Lord, I want this and word that. And then they give you the opportunity. And if you weren't prepared for the opportunity, it passes. Then you're mad. How come this one's getting? How come that one's getting? I don't know, because they were prepared. Better to be prepared for the opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared for it, which is what happens to a lot of us.
Ooh, say that again. I love that one, right? Better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one
than to have an opportunity and not be prepared for one. And this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is Miracle, who wanted to come and say hi. Say hello.
Hello.
Do you remember Mr. Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course he does.
Nice to see you.
Blow him a kiss. Blow him a kiss. All right, get that a kiss. All right, you going back to school?
But I love that though. I love that though, brother, because I think so many times we don't right in this process.
Right.
I lost my train of thought.
No, we were talking about faith without work is death, right? And how so many folks have an opportunity and are not prepared for it, rather than those who are prepared for the opportunity and don't have one. Yes. But when you're prepared for it and it shows up, it's like ready to go, right? It's like, it's for the guys that says like, you know what? Okay, let's say for example, my daughter loves going to Fun Spot in Orlando in Florida, right? And there they have the bars where you can go and hang on the bar, and once you pass like 60 seconds, they start adding like every 10 seconds you can earn like so much money, right?
Yes.
Right? So for the folks that go there, like, oh, I see people out there, man, I almost had it. And they met 1 second. They're like, just 1 second. It's like, listen, almost doesn't count. Like, I almost had it. You almost had it. Yeah. Don't be upset. You didn't have it. Maybe if you were at the gym working out a little more and you're working and working, you can hold on for 4 or 5 minutes. And now you mad at the guy that held on for 3.5 minutes and he got the $175 and you mad. Man, I almost got it. Don't talk about second place is the first loser, right? You almost won because you ate that extra piece of bacon when the other guy who competed didn't. Don't cry and complain for what you almost had. Ooh. Man, I almost got you. Yep, you almost won. You lost. It's okay, right?
Second place. What did you say? Second place is the first place loser? I love that.
Second place is the first loser, right?
Oh man, that's a hard one. All right, let's keep it. What's number 4 then?
Number 4 is the law of completion, right? This is the big writer downer. Successful people finish what they start. It doesn't matter what it is. So many of us, we come to like and quit every time it gets a little hard. You know, the book 3 Feet from Gold talks about folks digging for gold. And literally it was like one more axe pick because he got so tired and left. Guess what he didn't get? Gold. It's like the person priming, like, you know, the old wells that you used to have to prime the pump, get the water up. A 300-foot well, if you're priming the pump for water, it's going to take a while. So let's say it takes about 300 cranks for that thing to come up. It's like a crank a foot. After 285, a lot of people get really tired. And and they're going, let's say every time they get to like 299, they've seen the water and like, all right, let me just take a break and wait. They take a break and that goes all the way back down. And every time they pump to come back up, if you quit the first time, it don't matter how many times you pump, it's not going to come out. You're just going to get more tired. It's better to go to almost that point of exhaustion, because once the water comes out, you're pumping at maybe a third of the energy being dispensed to happen. So it's the same as if you're building a business, you're doing anything else, you have to get it to momentum. Once you get it to momentum, the rest of momentum pulls you. But some, they never get to momentum. They never finish, so they don't complete. And the most important thing between successful people is they finish what they start.
That's a good one right there. Ladies and gentlemen, think about what Dr. Obama is saying right there. How many projects do you have around your house that you haven't finished? You started painting that fence. You never finished it. You started redecorating that extra bedroom. You never finished it. You started going back and getting your degree. You never finished. Or how many books have you started and you haven't finished?
Right.
You know, I'm kind of one of those. Now I force myself to finish a book and really push myself to that, because I'll read something, I'll get what I want, and then, but no, you got to finish it out, because this is the truth. The way you do something, ladies and gentlemen, is the way you do everything. So if you're starting all these things and you never finish, you're never going to have the success that you want, because he said the magic M word, and no, it's not millionaire, it's momentum. If you keep on starting and stopping, you're always starting back from the beginning, because you lose all the momentum that you build up to. That's powerful, man.
It is, brother. And momentum itself has 3 phases. But in order to go through the phases of momentum, you first have to get to momentum. That's where the hardest work is. It's building a foundation. With today's technology, with them building a house, it takes 9 months to build a house, roughly. But it's about 6.5 just building a foundation. And all of a sudden, 90 days, a house went up. Like, oh my gosh, the house went up so fast. No, they spend the last 6.5 months building a foundation.
Yes.
And it only took 3 months to finish it, put on the finishing touches, build a roof, put on electricity, all that stuff happened because you have to build a foundation. Now think about it. For the Empire State Building, the higher the building, the deeper the foundation has to be gone and built. Because if it's can you imagine if it's just a light foundation, the same foundation you built for a 2-story house, Empire State Building will be leaning like a cholo, right?
It would be. Yeah, no, the
Right?
higher you go, the deeper you got to go.
The higher it goes, the deeper it is. So that means, here's what this means. When it comes to earning income, the more income you earn, the more knowledge you need. The right knowledge. Right? The reason why most people don't become wealthy, listen, you look at every wealthy person that is about 10 million or more, and you look at what they read and what they do. If you've never earned $1 million, you would be mentally exhausted. And you'd be like, oh, that's too much work. And you're right, for the person who doesn't want to become a multimillionaire. But once you do it and got to momentum, you do it over and over and over, guess what happens? It becomes second nature.
It expands your capacity. A stretched mind would never retract back to its original size.
Exactly. The mind works like a parachute. Best when open.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Wow.
So it's these little things that folks miss. Like, we started talking about momentum in the 3 phases. You got to do all that work. You got to get to momentum first. But once you get to momentum, the first phase is maintaining momentum. Once you maintain, it's like, okay, so I did all this work and I got here. Now you have to maintain it. Then you have to advance it. And then you have to accelerate it. Right? So those are the 3 phases: maintaining, advancing, and accelerating. And right, in business, you call it basically, how do you get there first and maintain it? What do you do to maintain it? Now build systems to do what you were doing, maintaining. Now, how do you advance it? Hire some other people to do what you were doing, to manage the system and scale to go bigger. You're advancing. How do you accelerate? Multiply. That's it. It's literally that simple. So you guys like, oh, you've been working with Walmart, all these other folks for so long. How do you help them? Well, I take them through the phases of momentum. If they don't have momentum, we get them there first. And the number one thing to get them to momentum is education and sales. Now, once they get there, we get education, sales, marketing, systems. Then we teach people how to market and sell those systems and scale them, and then accelerate.
So go back. So maintaining is putting systems in place, correct? Right? Is what you said?
Basically, yeah.
And then
or you could just stay doing it yourself.
Or number 2 was, what was the second part of to next level?
So once you maintain, you advance.
Okay.
Once you advance, you accelerate.
And when to advance, you gotta do what?
So after you've implemented the systems to do what you're doing, that frees your mind up. The number one job of a CEO is to think. So great, now I got it. It's maintaining it. It's like you're back at 0, but you got systems running it. So what do? Now you think of, okay, how do I expand? Oh, great. So for example, let's use a real world example. I built my business and I've built attracting clients organically. That's me. Now I have systems in place that'll market and sell and do all these things and automate the process. Now from that, how do I advance it? Well, there's 3 simple ways. I do it all the time. You go speak at events, right? You do more marketing online. You connect with other folks who have networks, and you make an offer. That advances what I'm doing, because I'm doing more now and I have the system running everything at that level. Now, how do you accelerate that? You can do more of it or find folks who you can collaborate or joint venture partnerships with that'll help scale that without you doing less work, earning more income. Work less, earn more. Simple.
Love it. I'm working less, I'm earning more. That's a
Working
good
less, earning
that's a
more.
good affirmation right there, by the way. I'm gonna write that one
It
down. I'm
is.
working less and making more. Boom, baby,
Yeah.
come on.
Bro, I'm telling you, my wife is the legend of working less, earning more. In fact, right now she's at the non-existent working level and still earns more than anything else because she's got systems and me. She's like, all I
Yes.
needed was a you. It's like, good. She completely leveraged me. It's been like 12 years, bro. I'm not mad.
I love it. I love it. Okay, let's keep going on. What's next after that?
Yeah, so before that, getting to the next step, which is key, which is why we're here. But one of the things my wife says to me, she's like, babe, I am ambitiously lazy, which means she'll work as long as she has to, so she doesn't ever have to ever again.
Ladies
I
and
learned so
gentlemen,
much from my wife.
think about what Dr. Obama just said as we go to the next.
Yeah,
Where
so,
are you maintaining your momentum?
right.
Where do you need to advance your momentum? What stage are you at? Are you at level 1, maintaining, level 2, advancing, or level 3? What was level 3 again?
Accelerating.
Accelerating it.
Yeah.
I'm just having too much fun with you, man. I'm like, but I'm loving this
that
because
would be 10xing it, right?
yeah, because it's true. Like we get stuck in one level, and I see this so many times with a lot of I fell into this trap, to be honest with you,
Right.
because you're maintaining it, and maybe now you maintained it, and now you're making more money and more revenue than you ever have, and then you get lazy, and then you start to decline, right? Whatever's not progressing, you're regressing.
Exactly.
And I see people go to the next level to the where they're advancing it, and now they're really right now imposter syndrome sets in because now they're making all this money without working, and they don't know how to think that way sometimes. And then I see people that are up here and then they go back down here, and it's not a good thing.
You know why that is? Your income will never exceed your level of development. Which is why you'll find wealthy people always reading and going to self-help seminars and developments. It's like your income will always come to the level of your intellect. It will never exceed it. You might get lucky once, but because of your lack of knowledge on how to multiply that money and have the money work for you, it'll come back down to where you're at. But if you have the level that does that, like my money doesn't even need me anymore. It works for me, works for itself.
I love it.
Because I have those systems, I have that knowledge, I paid for it, right? And that's what most folks say, why should I go pay somebody just to learn something for one day? How's that going to help me? Well, that one day that they're using to teach you took them maybe 15, 20 years to learn. Right? That's what most folks say. Right? So you were asked about number 5. Number 5 is the law of association, which is why we're here. Right? Yes. The law of association. Listen, your environment is stronger than your willpower. I tell people that all the time.
Woo, say that again.
Your environment is stronger than your willpower. You know, if you hang around 9 broke people, guess who's the 10th? You are. Don't matter if you're a multimillionaire and you hang around all the time with a bunch of broke folks. Yeah, you might be the big man, big woman on campus for a bit, but the intellect and the information you're receiving, and as Danielle mentioned a little while ago, in life, you're either growing or declining. So if you're not growing in that circle, yeah, they might be growing, but you aren't. Yeah. So you have to be advancing. You hang around 9 smokers, you're the 10th that's going to die from lung cancer. You don't have to smoke, but it's going to affect you, right? So as my mom used to say, boy, you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. That about does it.
No, I love that. That's good. I love that. Right, your environment is never gonna Your willpower will never be stronger than your environment. That's powerful. Exactly. I've never heard it like that. That's a good
one. When you think of it, it's peer pressure. So you get positive or negative peer pressure. That's what your environment does to you. So if you're the only one that hasn't earned $1 million, you're not a best-selling author. What do you think happened to me? For 3 years, I hung around a bunch of best-selling authors, and they're all millionaires and building a business. Then all of a sudden, I wrote my first book. We sold 72,000 copies of it. Then a year and a half later, we earned our first $1 million. It was like, yeah. Well, because you start hanging out, learning, acting, speaking, thinking, and performing the way they do, it'll be the same. That's why you always heard the analogy that your income will not exceed that of the 5 people you are the most closely associated with.
Yes.
Right? It's not going to happen, because if out your core 5, well, you all think, look, you're ducking. That's what I call it. Look like a duck, walk like a duck, quack like a duck, quack, quack. It's a duck posse.
It's a duck. I'm loving this episode, man. This is good stuff, brother. Common sense, right? I love the way you describe it, because it's easy, no big elaborate words, just
no need fancy words.
Yeah, and you're a doctor. That's what I love about you. It's like,
thanks, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Obom is speaking human language, not doctor language that we can. Let me look up that word. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, see, I can tell you about the etymology of wealth, and you're like, what is etymology? Well, that just means the history and all this. No, I can just tell you about the steps of wealth, or I can try to blow your mind with it. That's what most people do. Like, I know fancy words. I know them. I just don't use them.
Yeah. The average person actually, I think the last stat I read was the average person reads an 8th grade level. In America, the average American reads at 8th grade level, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to reach the masses, you really want to make a difference.
That can be the big fancy word. And here's the crazy part. The average person who graduates from high school have never read a book again, another book after high school. So that's about 89% of the world. So if you want to be in that like 11%, just read 1 book a year.
Yes.
You want to get to the 5%? Read 5 books a year. Want to get to the 1%? Minimum, read 1 a month.
Yes.
I read 4 to 5 books a month.
Yes.
Right? So it's a minimum of a book a week. Now, here's the deal. I started, you might say like, I listen, reading was not my favorite cup of tea to drink at all. Ask my wife. I literally, every time I pick up a book, I will fall asleep because it was so boring. But then I realized, I started noticing every wealthy person I knew, every time they were relaxing, I saw them with a what? A book. Do you know where the wealth of the world is hidden? It's not in a chest or a bank or a vault. It's in books.
Yes.
The problem is not enough people are reading.
And now you even have Audible books. Like, right, we're doing our book right now, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind. We're going to make that into an Audible. I'm excited. It's almost done. It'll be done here, but then by the end of the month, God willing. And
congratulations,
baby,
bro.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. All right, what's number 6, my brother? What's number 6? You got me excited.
So number 6 is what I do all the time, which you actually talked about. It's like Dr. O he's a doctor. It's the law of simplicity. Right? Wealth is built on simple things multiplied over time with consistency and persistency that yields a result. Everybody's trying to do it the sexy way and this and that, and they're complicating it, right? My gift is taking the complicated and making it simple. Most people, when I say most, I'm talking about like 85% of people is taking the simple and complicating it. They're complicating how it is to become wealthy. It's a very simple process. You can follow those 7 laws, man. Simplicity is the art of winning.
There's 3 steps. So give us an example of what it is to be simple, right? The law of simplicity, and somebody trying to maybe impress somebody or do it the wrong way and they totally lose it. What's an example of that?
I'll give you one. So I think, my wife and I, we took off and started traveling the world. We plan to do it for the next 20 years until we finish, right? But I live nowhere. I'm address nowhere. I'm where I'm at because I choose to be. So living on this all-inclusive resort life, which means you eat whatever you want, whenever you want, all this other stuff, right? So we started off and it was really good. And, you forgot a few key things like eating too much of great food. So I got a little fluffy around the stomach area. And both my wife and I said, okay, great. Let's just go to Mazatlan for 2 months. This is the simplicity. We're going to get back in shape. the focus. I mean, even though round is the shape, that's not the one I want, right? So it's not the one I desire. So what we're doing right now, so we're here for 2 months. Now, this suite has the other side of the suite has a full kitchen and all this other stuff. This is an all-inclusive resort. I order stuff up in the morning. Like I have a fruit smoothie. I just finished drinking one. I make up every single day now, right? Fruit smoothies after I work out and stuff, eating less, maybe one full meal in a day, light and going out. And in the mornings, I get a workout. And then tonight, I get another light workout with me, my wife, and my daughter, right? Because we got to train her into it. But what does it mean? The simplicity is eat balance, work out. It's that simple.
Yes.
We're going to need all this fancy stuff. The truth is, if you burn more than if you put out more than you're putting in, you'll get like this. I was putting in more than I was putting out, so I was getting like this.
Yeah.
So it's simple. Put in less, put out more. Meaning put out more energy and take in just as much as I need. Now, here's the deal. I have whatever I want at my disposal 24 hours a day, but it requires discipline to say no. Sometimes it's to the amount or whatever. I have it all at my disposal, but do I utilize it all? No, that's the best way to discipline, because I'm not going to change what I'm doing. I'm going to reward myself, but I'm going to take in less, and I'm going to put out more.
I love this. I love it. Last and final one, number 7.
Last and final one, number 7, is the law of diminishing returns. Right? Whatever you do, it will never be 100%. You got to maintain it. You have to advance it. You have to accelerate it. So it's like, know that you got $1 million right now. Put it in the bank. It's not going to do nothing for you. If you're not growing that, there's always diminishing returns. As we get older, that in itself is nature's law of diminishing returns, right? You can't see the gray hairs because I shaved them all off, right? I don't look old, right? But some folks, I talked to this lady the other day, she's like, you have a son that's 33? Yes, he'll be 34 this year, right? I have a daughter that's 23, one that's 21, and then the 4-year-old. They're like, what happened with the gap? I'm like, I have to make sure everything was still working at this age, It's all good.
Wow, brother, that's the law of the diminishing returns, what you say.
Diminishing returns. Whatever it is you're doing, there will always be a subtraction to it. So you can't, nothing will ever remain as is or perfect. Even when you build your house over time, it depreciates, right? This is why in business you have the depreciation. So you buy something for your business because of the law of diminishing return. The United States Tax Service is like, listen, you can only deduct so much this year, so much next year, so much next year, because it diminishes. So the return you're going to get for that for tax has to be in accordance to that. So I bought this brand, let's say you bought this brand new, your system to do your business podcast or whatever. And it was, let's just say it was $100 that you deduct. Next year, you can maybe deduct 85, and the year after 70, and the year after 55, and the year so on. You're like, right? When it gets down to 5 years, you got to replace it.
It's as far as because there's lots of strategy. I love it, man. So let me ask you this: if somebody's out there listening to this and they're writing down these 7, they're like, do these really work? How do I apply these, and what do I do? I think when I'm hearing this, ladies and gentlemen, look at the 7 laws. Don't focus on all 7. Focus on which one speaks to you the loudest.
The most, and start with that one.
And start with that one, because that's where you're at. Everybody, that's the one thing that breaks my heart in business. They think that there's a one for all, right? It doesn't work that way. We're all in different states. God has different plans, right? Our path with God in business is unique. And when you realize that, ladies and gentlemen, write down the 1 or 2 laws that spoke to you out of these 7 and focus on those, I would say, for 90 days. Why? Because it takes 21 days to start forming a habit. 90 days, you make it a lifestyle. Exactly. And Dr. Obom just dropped some massive, massive wisdom. Let me ask you that. Besides the 7, what's as we come to the end of the show, what's the number one business advice that you would give to somebody that maybe needs a little bit of encouragement or help right now in business?
Yeah, you know what I would say for business, first and foremost, focus on law 4, which is law of completion. Whatever you're in, commit to finishing it. So if you commit to finishing something, because here's the deal, and I know we're wrapping here at the top of the hour. The moment you're born, you begin to die. So we're running against the finish line. What are you going to finish that you've started? Choose a thing, finish it. If your business is what you're choosing to build, do all that you can do, right? Let's say you want to focus on 3 things in your business. If you're going to bring in income, you have to first focus on educating yourself, learn to sell better, and market what it is you're doing. So sales is the #1 paid skill in the world. If there is something I could teach my kids, which I've done for all of them, is sales. This little one, don't get in her way. She is a natural seller. We just watched her last night. She always sets us up for the punch because we taught her how to do it. At 4 years old, she's crazy, right? She just came up to me earlier today. She said, "Dad, would you like to hear a joke?" I was like, "What's your joke?" She says, "Who's the favorite aunt? Who's Penguin's favorite aunt?" And I was like, "Penguina?" She's like, "No, Antarctica."
Oh man, I love that, right? The law of completion. That, and that's so true, because so many times we start things, imposter syndrome sets in, we don't feel we're good enough, we don't feel we belong,
Right.
whatever that however it affects you, because there's so many, right? So many times we procrastinate. That's another symptom of imposter syndrome. Listen to what
Yeah.
Dr. Obama is saying, ladies and gentlemen. Focus on the law of completion and finish what you started. Look back this first quarter. What didn't I start from January, February, March, April? We're right about to enter here, May. Get it done, ladies and gentlemen. How do we get a hold of you, Dr. Obama?
Well, one of the best ways is they can reach me on social media. On Instagram, it's at Dr. Obom Bowen, or same thing on Facebook. So not that hard. Or as my daughter would say, I'm Googleable. Just Google me. You'll find
Googleable.
ways, right? As we close out here, Danielle, you mentioned something I think I want to share to leave them with to understand this, because when I figured this out, it literally changed my life. You talk about procrastination. If you look at it, of what procrastination really is, procrastination is the highest form of self-hate. If you love yourself enough, you will do what you're supposed to do. That one, when I figured it out, it changed my life.
Say that again one more time. That was pretty powerful.
Procrastination is the highest form of self-hate. It's a deep one. So you need to procrastinate on so many things. Like, I'm going to work out, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Just get started. And once you get started, just finish it. That's it. That's simple.
Wow.
Everything requires 2 things, starting and finishing. Everything else in between is a distraction. And that is the ultimate sin. Coming back to what we started for in the beginning, get clear and get focused. Once you start, being clear and focused will help you finish.
Boom, baby, there you go. What are you procrastinating on, ladies and gentlemen? Think about that. Procrastination is the highest level of self-hate.
It is.
What are you procrastinating on? Stop procrastinating. Follow your dream. Your dream is for you, not for anybody else. Stop doing these things to yourself. Stop self-sabotaging. Dr. Obama dropped some massive wisdom. Brother, thank you so much for joining us here. I love you, man. You've been a big blessing.
Love you too, brother.
I can't wait to spend some more time with you. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we'll be back next week with another amazing guest. Remember, if you're stuck in life, if you're stuck in business, we want to see you here in San Antonio, Texas, May 26th and 27th, Memorial Day weekend. We did it that way on purpose. Go to Eventbrite right now. Put in the promo code BLESSINGS with an S, BLESSINGS with an S. I want to see you in San Antonio, May 26th, 27th. We have some amazing opportunities for you to really bend your life in the right direction. Breakthroughs are waiting for you. Impact is waiting for you. We want to see you here in San Antonio, Texas, May 26th, 27th, the makings of a Millionaire Mind Bootcamp. And better yet, go to right now, themakingsofaMillionairemind.com, and get an autographed copy of my book. It's going to bless you. It's going to help you. Until next week here on the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we'll see you here with another amazing guest on the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. This is Daniel Gomez, and thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We'd love your feedback. Please drop us a comment, and thank you for leaving us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and share this episode with a friend. And my free gift for listening to our show today is a copy of my best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. To get your free copy, go to DanielGomezInspires.com and get your copy today. That's DanielGomezInspires.com. And to elevate your life and business even more,
Follow me on social media at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.